start YouTube. Okay, live on YouTube. X. Copy. Create. Okay. Boom. All right, live on X, top post. Perfect. And last but not least, live on IG. All right, here we go. Let's start the show.
All right.
Time alone when I am perfectly willing to give her everything she needs.
Check, 1, 2.
I don't care about her past. I don't care what she's been through.
What up, Big Money? I see you right there.
All I want to do. So baby, if you got that feeling, well, I want to give you that midnight healing. You know what I'm talking about, yeah. Turn the lights down low. Come right on over here to me. I know you don't want no commitments, baby. I just wanna set your body free. And I don't care what's going on in the night outside my door. I just wanna get your head right, baby. Give you all the love I got for sure. So baby, if you've got that feeling, you know I wanna give you that midnight healing. Oh, I just wanna make love to you all night long. Midnight healing, baby. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
All right, guys, just give me one quick second to check audio, make sure everything's working right. Welcome to the Hour of Power, y'all. Check audio, make sure everything's working right. Okay, we sound good. Everything looks good. We sound good. All levels look right. All right, good. Let's get this thing going. Oh, these lives. You just never know what's going to happen. All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the show. You guys know Monday nights, the Hour of Power. Almost 8 years in a row, we have not stopped. We've just wiggled left and wiggled right to keep the show alive and going. I'd like to welcome everybody. Episode 394. We're almost at 400 episodes. Who would have thought we would have got this far? But tonight's guest had a chance to meet this gentleman in Spaces. He was very highly recommended that I get him on the show. Everyone said not only is he going to be a very interesting guest, but he will also is a great human being. So this is my chance right now to get to know him. Normally, we always click up in Spaces, but there's just so many people in Spaces. I don't get a chance to really have a one-on-one with him, but I want to bring him on now. So I don't want to waste too much more time. Without further ado, hang on. Let's make sure we got him up and we got him good. All right, we do. Tonight's guest, known as from his, this is how I met him as Ookaswacka, but this is Dave. Dave, say hello to everybody.
Hey, how's it going, Mark? How you doing? Hey, everybody, how's it going?
All right. What's up, Dave? Welcome to the Hour of Power, my friend. I'd like to welcome you to the show. I know you're familiar with it, but nobody is familiar with you. Tonight, doing something a little different than normal. We usually broadcast to 4 different sites. We've opened up to Twitch. So we got Twitch, IG, Facebook, X, and YouTube all streaming right now. So saying hello to a lot of different worlds. Welcome to the show, Uka. And this is going to be the most generic question of the show, right? Maybe you could take a couple minutes, introduce yourself, introduce your art, tell everybody a little bit about you, and give everybody a nice introduction.
Yeah, my name's Dave. Ookaswacka is my handle. It's actually came from a old gamer tag long time ago, and I just kind of came up with the word. Well, there's actually a little bit more to that. It was a little bit of a mind-altering substance, and that song that goes Ookaswacka, Ookaswacka. My mom was playing that, and I had to run back to the house. And I just started to feel the effects of the mushrooms that I took. I was probably young age, about 17, 18 years old. And then I was like, oh, shit, I got to get the hell out of here. My mom knew something wasn't right. So she's like, be careful, have fun, don't get in no trouble. So we went out and I had a long conversation with the tree. And the tree told me that the Watchers their name's Ookaswacka. So I used that as a gamer tag back in whenever you had to load up on landlines and play Quake 3, on a whatever kind of crappy ass computer. And I just stuck with it ever since. I use it for everything, all my emails, all my socials, and it's just like a unique word and it's kind of funny. So that's where the name came from. But yeah, I'm a NFT artist and I'm a painter. Father. I worked most of my life. I always drew, always did art since 8th grade. And, then life gets in the way. I have 3 older children. They're all, my oldest son, he owns his house. My middle son moved in with him. My daughter's in college. So about 3.5 years ago, I said, you know what, I'm getting back into art, instead of just sitting there drawing on the couch, watching TV. I figured I would, really dive into it. And that's when I started learning about NFTs and I learned how to layer, and I learned a little bit of coding on how to stack layers and figured out how to, go through smart contracts. And that stuff is way beyond me. And I hate doing that kind of shit because I only want to be in the art side of it. But I figured it out, put up a collection, and just started, coming to Spaces and shilling my art. And I met some really, really awesome people, and they just keep me going. And, 2 years ago, I wouldn't even imagine trying to even do a painting. Now I'm painting. So it's just all love, man. I'm having a great time too.
Okay. So, Uka, let's take it back to, what did you say? You started when you were 8? Is that, did you say?
Well, yeah, I always drew, but I mean, the first time I actually realized that I could actually draw was probably about 8th grade. I remember we were going on Christmas break, and I had a book, and it had these really cool drawings in it, and they were of horses and knights and stuff like that. And I was like, ooh, so I this one portrait of a horse. It was like done in color pencil in the picture. So I took it home and I copied it and I drew it, and like right out of the book. My mom's like, "Oh wow, that's really good. Did you trace it?" I'm like, "No, I didn't trace it. Just looked at the picture and drew it." She's like, "Wow, that's really crazy." So that's pretty much where it started. And then after that, it was, going through high school. I bought an airbrush and I'd airbrush people's pants and shit for like $10, $15 here and there. I had a little side hustle way back in the early days of high school. So, but yeah, that's about, and then just progressed. And like I said, I had my first kid when I was I was 20. Yeah, I was 20 years old when I had my first kid. And he's 26 now, so that kind of shows you my age. So
So, question, right? It sounded like art started pretty early. This is crazy. So last Monday night, we had Russ Dog on. And it turns out that he was tattoo, but also doing a little bit of the airbrush art as well. We got into a quick conversation. So this is funny because I used to airbrush as well I say around 16, 17, 18. Late teens. I kind of carried it into 20, 21, somewhere in there. But then I slowly started to get so I took a different path, started doing engineering. I was airbrushing jackets on the side throughout engineering. But all right, so the art, right? It's crazy to me how many similarities, the more and more conversations I have. The more and more I see all these similarities between the artists, which I think is pretty awesome to see all of these things kind of linking up and everyone on the same path. Because it just can't. It's like a light in the sky. Everybody seems to be finding their way towards this little world of NFTs and art. Okay, so you're airbrushing, right? Real life steps in. Did you carry on the art? Did you end up going to a trade school, doing something different? What was it, 9 to 5? It sounded like art started to take a almost like a back burner, back shelf type thing. What were you doing in the meantime while you weren't doing art?
art wasn't going to pay the bills, and I had a kid coming, so I was actually working construction. I built houses. I was the lead framer for about 12 years. I did that for 12 years, and it was just getting old. And it was a young man's game. And then there was a market crash. And then whenever I got out of there, and then I found another job, and I've been with this company for like 16, 17 years now. And now I'm in a kind of an easy spot because I'm a manager of multiple stores, so I usually can do all my work at home as long as I make sure people are staffed in certain stores. So that opened up a whole nother world where, oh shit, I can get back into my art here now. I can start doing my drawings again. But art never ever left. I have stacks and stacks, like 20 years of like hand drawn stuff that always just drawing in a sketchbook constantly. I just never really showed it to anybody except my wife and my kids, and they're always like, "Oh, that's cool, that's cool." So I was like, you know what? I think it's about time people start seeing this weird kind of strange shit that I draw all the time. So but yeah, art's never left, and I'm in a good spot now where I can focus back on art. My kids are grown. I have custody of my niece, who is in fifth grade. So we kind of started over with that, but it's a lot easier now with the 3 older kids, and and we're in a nice little spot now where I was able to build a little studio in the house. I framed in, thank God for the construction background. I was able to buy a cheap house, and I framed in half of my garage. And my oldest son moved in here when we got custody of 3 of my nieces, and 2 of them moved out whenever they turned 18. But I moved him into the garage, and then he was working and saving up money. And as soon as he saved up enough money to buy his own house, I turned it into a bar. And my studio that you can see in the background here is like, it's partitioned off right there. But this is what you're seeing is half of my garage. So now I got a spot. So now once I got a spot, I'm like, oh, I got a place where I can create. And that, I think in every single artist needs a spot. They have to have some kind of spot.
Bro, hey, did you read the script before I even got it? I don't even have a chance to say anything, and you're saying everything that I'm trying to. Go ahead, God. I want to interrupt you.
We're on the same wavelength, man. We're on the same
I mean,
wavelength.
it's like I gave all you guys scripts now. You guys been watching the Hour of Power way too much because it's like you know all the answers. No, go ahead. I don't want to. I got nothing to ask.
I was just gonna say. I was just saying. I think it's really important because once I had my spot, I always wanted an art studio. Not sitting on the couch drawing, or not a little corner in the basement where wife's over here doing laundry. I have my own little spot where I can come out. I can destroy this area. She don't care about the mess. It's always a mess. I clean it up every once in a while, whatever, right?
Paint flying everywhere.
Yeah, it's always a mess. So this is my spot, and she knows this is my spot. Sometimes I fuck up and I track paint in the house, and that's a whole nother animal. But I'm trying to be a little more careful now and again. But I think as an artist, everybody, even if you go in a closet, make that your spot. But I think it's really important to just have that spot to where you treat as like you're a professional. You go and you just do the work. Get up, just go in there, go to your spot, do the work, and I think the universe will eventually reward you for that.
Okay, so let's see. You jumped me on the whole Ookaswacka question. You got that one out before I even had a chance to before we even started the show. The Ookaswacka, was that really did that have anything to do with that song at all? Because I was trying to come up with a name for the show.
I think it did, because like I said, that song was in the background whenever I was talking to my mom, right as the mushroom started to kick in. I was 17 years old, and then now when I hear that song, it always reminds me of going back to, like that must have been something in my brain, that was like ooka chaka.
Yeah.
That song right there. I love that song. I think it had something to do with the creation of the name. And I seen that whenever you were like, I was going to call the show this tonight. You sent me that tape, and I was like, oh, shit. And that brought back some memories. So.
So I was sitting here, and I'm like, Ookaswacka. It's like Ookaswacka. I'm like, I can't stop this. I'm like, I wonder if this has anything to do with that song. I'm like, I know he's into metal. I know he listens to his own shit. I'm like, I don't want to insult him or right, but the name of the show, I was going to call the show, I Can't Stop This Feeling. Right? And it's because it just, I don't know, when your name came up, it reminded me of this song. Okay, so we get that out the way. Then you beat me to the punch with the whole studio thing. Tracing, right? When somebody says you trace something, kind of like the biggest compliment ever, especially when it comes to drawing and creating. And then finally, your art studio, which is something I feel like every artist should have. It's the dream of every artist to work towards a little spot, a little studio where they can have peace of mind, they can create, and they can not lock out the distractions and get to work. Okay, so it sounds like you got some 9-to-5s going on. In the meantime, keep the family alive, keep the bills paid, keep everything moving forward where you don't have to put yourself in that situation where art paying the bills, right? And not for nothing, but sounds like from that time period that you were in, around the same time period I was in, and the only way to really get those bills paid with the art was either you knew somebody or you had to go knock on gallery doors. And if you're not in a big art space, if you're not in a big art spot, like if you're not in New York City, if you're not in LA, if you're not in South Carolina, if you're not in Miami, if you're not in these spaces, not a lot of art traffic floating around. So hard to break into the art world. Then social media pops up out of nowhere. Social media starts to get big. Days of MySpace, Facebook, IG starts to, now everybody's starting to post their art, share their art. Now little videos, whip videos, people creating their art. Now people noticing people's art on the internet. During this whole time period, sounds like you were still creating, still working, still drawing, still keeping this little art thing active. Was there ever a thought at all but it sounds like there was, because the whole entire 40 45 years of your life now, you've been sort of working to this spot where you can create art. So was there any thoughts of taking a shot at fine art or creating art or selling art during this whole time period? Any thoughts about that whatsoever? Or was you just messing around with a book and doodles and kind of a way to take your mind off things?
It was always in the back of my mind, and like I'm a jack of all trades. I mean, I make my own beer, I make my own wine, I do all kinds of stuff. So I have many hobbies, but art has always been it's always been there. You know what I mean? I never really thought, and and even today, I don't even I'm not even trying to make money from art. I just want people to put eyes on it. That's the only reason why I started getting on Twitter. I had a Twitter account since like 2011 or whatever, and I never used it at all until like the last 3 years. So I was like, you know what? It's now, this is when maybe people want to start checking out some of this weird, crazy, and it was mostly ink pen drawings. Like I would just start doodling on a thing, and then they come out with these crazy ass drawings. I got so much stuff though, like just it's crazy. Like, but art has always been there. It's always been kind of tugging at me, just kind of from the background, like, hey, you got to draw, you got to. And I think there was a time where I didn't even draw for about 6 months, and then I just was like, I got to get back to drawing. There was always them on and off periods, but had to pay the bills. Wife was working, I was working, and we were working. Had to pay the bills. I'm in Ohio. Like there ain't too many art dealers in Ohio. You know what I mean? So
right.
I had to just do what I had to do to survive. And now, thank God for for social media. Because now at least you can just put it out there and get it out into the universe. And whether people like it or hate it, art is subjective. So I really like it when people tell me that I suck, because that just makes me want to do a little better next time.
So question, I don't know if I want to go here now or stick with the art. The beer brewing and the wine making, where'd that all come in? Yeah, maybe you want to talk about that a little bit.
Oh, yeah, because that's I love it. And I've been brewing beer and making wine for about 10 years. And I actually built my own brewery, little tiny small. I brew 5 to 10 gallons at a time. And if you look over in here, I have a bar, and I built my own kegerator, and it can hold like 7 or 8 kegs. And I put the taps into the wall, and I brew beer. I love it. It is an art form in itself, and it took me a long time. It probably took me about 3 years to figure out how to make it taste good, because alcohol is very easy to make. It's hard to make it taste good. So and then you spend all that time, because a brew day brew day is about 5 to 6 hours, and then you got to wait about 2 weeks for it to ferment, and then another couple of days to force carbonate it. I keg it so I don't have to bottle it. If you got to bottle it, you got to wait another 3 weeks or whatever to carbonate naturally. But anyways, I could talk, and I'm a huge yeast nerd. I love like microorganisms, and like this kind of yeast can do this, and this kind of yeast can do that. And I have a sourdough starter that I make sourdough bread. I mean, I do all kinds of crazy shit, man. But the brew beer and the beer brewing, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. I think you got me a little nervous. But I mean, I could talk for hours about brewing beer, because it's just, but then once I started figuring that out, like, okay, this tastes like shit. And I choked down a lot of shitty beer, at the beginning, but it's still beer. It tastes like shit, but it's got alcohol in it. It does the job. So, but now I'm at a point where I know my equipment, and I know, okay, I can just take this, this recipe and make this out of it, and throw this styles of hops in, and get kind of what I intended or thought, So it is definitely an art form in itself. So that's another thing too. And then wine making, my wife likes wine. I'm not a huge wine fan, but I'm not out there stomping on grapes or anything like that. We buy
red, white. What do you make?
It's usually red wine, but it's I'm not smashing the grapes with my feet or anything, nothing like that. We'll get a wine kit, and then usually it comes with the juice and the yeast, and then you just gotta mix it up, put the right stuff in it, and then it's all timing. And then you let it sit for about a month, and then you clear it, and about another 2 weeks, and then you bottle it. So I make 5 gallons at a time, gets about 30 bottles of wine, and I have a cellar full, and she gives them out for Christmas gifts or birthday gifts or whatever. It's kind of fun, and I'll do little art labels and slap little art labels on them, for special people and shit like that. It's kind of fun. So, like last year when we went to NFT NYC, I always bring beer, I bring wine, and I was just giving them out to everybody and shit. It's always fun, just to, like, you get a gift of alcohol. I mean, that's the greatest gift in the world, right?
I I don't know too much about this. I had somebody at one time gave me a bag of brew. I think that's what it was called, or a brew of a bag. I don't know. You take this bag, you mix it up, you sit it down in a cold spot in a corner. You come back to it 3 weeks later, you got a bag of beer, right? You're supposed to drink it. It's supposed to taste good. That's my total experience from brewing any type of beer. But I remember there was a time in my college career, and then also past college, a lot of my friends were getting into, I think Samuel Adams, if I remember correctly, was like the first beer distributor. Maybe not the first, but they seem like the first beer distributor that started having all these different flavors. They would have the Oktoberfest beer. They would brew all sorts of different flavors. I don't necessarily know the timeline of when flavors and flavored beers start to, actually happen. But what would you say is, can you brew any type of beer with any type of flavor? Like, can you use pear or apple, or how does that whole thing work?
Well, beer is all grain. So whenever they talk like a fruited beer, what they're doing is they're using grain and they're brewing the grain. So pretty much in a nutshell, you heat up water and then you soak the grain in the water for like an hour. So, and then you drain that water and don't get none of the grain in it. So that's called the mash tun. And then it goes into the boil kettle, and then you boil it usually for an hour, and that's going to boil off some of the water. So what you just did is you converted the water converts the sugar in the grain to, fermentable sugars, and it comes out in the water. And then you boil it for an hour. So depending on the recipe, there's all different types of grain. You got your light grains, your dark grains. It's all pretty much barley. It's just roasted at a different time or a different, this one's roasted longer. It's going to be darker, kind of like dark coffee, light coffee, same thing. And then you got to cool it down right after you're done boiling it. So you want to cool it down as fast as you can to get it to fermentation temperature. And then you pitch your yeast, and then you wait 2 weeks. And then what happens is the yeast well, in a nutshell, the yeast eats sugar and it shits alcohol. So that's pretty much what yeast does. It'll just eat the sugar and poop out alcohol. And then you got to wait a couple more days after it's done fermenting. All the stuff settles to the bottom. You drain it out. And then if you're making a peach beer or something, what you do is you want to back sweeten it. So you usually add those fruity flavors to the keg. So whenever you package it, that's when you're adding your peach or your apple, or, you're not actually using apples or peaches. Beer is always going to be grain. So that answers your question, I guess.
Yeah. I was curious how that shit worked, because everybody used to go crazy for like the Oktoberfest. Yeah, everybody's like, oh, the pumpkin, the October. Everybody used to go nuts over these beers. And to me, they were always thick. Which you probably won't agree with, because I'm more of like a Corona Coors Light guy. Like, that's my beer, as light and as thin as possible. But then I have friends who like, oh my God, you would think Guinness, nice and thick. They love a thick beer. I don't know what the fascination about it is. I guess maybe you feel like you're drinking something hearty. I don't know. For me, I always enjoyed my beer thin for some reason. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's just a personal preference. You know what I mean? I mean, I back in the day, we'll drink some Bud Lights, some Miller Lights or whatever, and then this big giant boom of like craft beer just
Right. Remember, like the
exploded.
whole IPA thing blew up. Like,
Yeah,
it went nuts. There was like
and
there was like a brewery everywhere popping up around. Go ahead.
oh no, yeah, no, I get you. We have a ton of them around here, and that's one of my favorite things to do. Is I always I pretty much visited all the breweries in within like a 50-mile radius from here, and I can always find something that I really like, and I can always find stuff that I really don't like. But yeah, stouts are just thicker beers, different styles, use different yeast, different grain. It's all pretty much the same process, and then IPAs are just over hopped beer. And IPA, they call it an Indian Pale Ale. And people's like, is it made in India? It's like, no, it's not made in India. Okay, I'm going to give you a little history lesson on beer real quick, then we can get back to art. But like I said, I could talk about beer and wine all night long, and art. I mean, it's just funny. Anyways, back in whenever they used to ship beer on boats, we're talking sailboats, to the British would ship beer over to India. And what they would do is they would take a whole bunch of hops, because the hops are naturally preservative. So they would put a whole bunch of hops in the beer, so it would still be good when it got to India. And then when everybody in India were like, wait, this beer is amazing, then everybody just started wanting it. So we're talking, 1800s-ish, 1700s-ish. That's when actually IPAs came. And then it wasn't really, it didn't really catch on until later on. Well, I think it was, there's a company called Anchor Steam Beer. They started making like some of the newer IPAs and stuff back, probably 20 years ago. And then it started catching on like wildfire. Now IPAs are crazy. Now you got like West Coast IPAs, New England IPAs, and all that is West Coast IPAs. They're just throwing hops in while it's boiling. New England IPA, they usually don't put any hops in it while it's boiling. They put them all in the after fact. So when you boil a hop, you're going to get the bitterness. If you throw them in after the boil, you're going to get the floral flavor. You're going to get the aroma more, and not so much bitterness. So New England IPAs are a little hazy, but they're less bitter. West Coast IPAs are more hoppy. They're usually clearer, and they're going to be a little bit more bitter. So.
What is your fan favorite? What is your choice of beer?
I really like some New England IPAs. There's a couple of them that I really, really enjoy. I do like the West Coast ones. I still haven't tried. There's one called Pliny the Elder. It's out of California. It wins like the best IPA in the world every year, and they only make a small run. I haven't had a chance to, because they only have small distribution, and then whenever they release it, their tap houses are full and you can't get it. But I actually was able to get a download, find an actual clone that the brewer actually put the ingredients on the internet, and I was able to like make my own version of it, and it's pretty good. But like I said, I don't know if it's like it, because I have never had it. But I like the IPAs, but I like stouts. I don't really care too much for sour beers. They're just sour. I don't know. That's like they just let the fruit rot in the kegs, and I don't know. But I mean, I like stouts. I enjoy all beers. I like all light beers. Like I can always find some kind of artistic touch from the brewer in every beer that they make. Not always. Some of them are like, this one's tough.
That's an interesting statement. Just because you said that I can find an artistic touch from the brewer. What is an artistic touch defined as when it comes to brewing?
In beer, like you would like, okay, you when you crack it open, sometimes it's the smell. Like, oh shit. And I don't really have a great palate for beer. I just know what I like and what I don't like. I can't what's the word? Where you tear something down. The word has just, deconstruct or whatever, like I can't deconstruct. Oh, you put this in there, that in there, this in there. I can kind of somewhat guess what hops they use, but I know what I like and what I don't like. But you can always tell, like, oh, that's neat. Like, and not only whenever you're having a beer, it's not just like drinking it. It's usually the whole experience, the smell, the hops, and then You got the mouth feel, which is like, okay, it could be flat or it could be, you know, a little more bubbly. But then after you drink it, usually the hoppier beers will leave a little bit of an aftertaste. And some people don't like that aftertaste because it's usually the hops that are leaving that little lingering bitterness. But once you drink enough of them, you kind of know, like, oh, that's there's little tiny hints of, okay, this is where they wanted you to experience the beer. It's like after it's already in your gut, they want that flavor to be in your mouth, or it's the aroma. Those are like little tiny points that always stand out to me whenever I'm drinking a beer.
I mean, that's an interesting way to look at it, because there's art in everything, right? And I'm sure there's an art to brewing, which you've already said. But then to tweak it and to turn it into your own. And there's so many IPAs. There's so many we have a lot of breweries here. It's a Bronx brewery. And so many people take pride in, obviously, brewing their own beer. They've turned it into, you know, this business where you can walk into their brew. I almost feel like, bro, I don't know why. I almost feel like I see you on TikTok doing brewery reviews. You know, I don't even know why that's coming to me right now. But I was trying to live stream on Twitter one of my beers when I was brewing in the shed, because I always take video, you know, me brewing in my brew shed. Right.
But the problem is the brew shed, it gets so hot in there. My phone actually will shut down because I'm running the burners and stuff like that. So wow. My phone doesn't like it out there. So maybe one day I'll pipe a camera out there or something. You guys check me out brewing. But I'm always posting, usually in like our little FCW group chat, you know, like, hey, I'm in the brew shed, and I'll take little videos. I think I posted on Instagram the whole. I filmed every step of the brew process, from, you know, milling the grain, taking the grain, grinding it up, putting it in the water, soaking it, and then I did time lapse videos. So I did like a whole entire 5-hour brew video, like just then I edited it and put it on Instagram and knocked it down to like 20 seconds. So it's like shows the whole entire process. I love brewing beer, and
you did a whip video for your beer brewing.
Yeah, exactly. And I need to start getting a camera set up and do some more whip videos for painting. But usually what I do with that is I'll just, as soon as at the end of the day or at the end of the hour, I'll just take a picture of what I do, and then I try to splice them together. So it might not be the right way, but that's the way I'm doing it. So.
Well, now even social media for pushing your art has become an art, right? Might not necessarily be the best or the most advanced artist, but some people out there are doing very well because of the fact that they know how to promote it, how to film it, how to edit it, how to put it together, get it on social media. And it brings a lot of eyes to what you're doing. I don't want to get too far off.
No, I was going to say, like, yeah, content creation is very, very important. Like,
right. Yeah.
I did a couple videos of me, like, doing, like, you know, the flipping around like you see a lot of, but I was like smacking myself in the head and trying to edit it. And I knocked over the camera with the thing, and it was kind of funny. But I'm always thinking of like ways to promote it. I'm like, this is obviously not working. These pictures ain't hitting nowhere. You know, they might do, but whenever I did that, I got a little bit of more impressions on Instagram or whatever. People on X don't really seem to care about them kind of videos. But I mean, I have footage of me getting out of the shower, banging my head against the wall. I was going to make, like, trying to figure out some content so I can get eyes on my art, you know? Like, I got all these goofy ass fucking videos of me just doing dumb shit, just trying to figure out content. And I'm like, I'm never going to post these, but you never know. And maybe that's what I got to start doing.
I believe it's the social media that, today, right? So, I mean, you go into a gallery and you meet a gallery owner, you talk to a gallery owner, the guy likes you. All right, let's give it a shot. Let's see how your art does, right? The art's up on the wall. The only thing standing between you and that sale is how that gallery owner pitches your art and talks about you. He knows he has the clients that have the money. He knows who's going to spend and who isn't. So it's how he pitches that art. And if he likes you, he's going to pitch that art, you know, like, this is the next big thing. This is the guy you want to look into. You know, these gallery owners, they have the ability to sell the art to their collectors if they want to. So it's that, you know, whether or not they like you or they don't, And then social media, it's the same thing. If people like you on social media, they get to know you. Same way in spaces, right? We jump in the spaces, we all grab the mic, we all shoot the shit with each other. You know right away by sitting in a space, I like this guy, I don't like this guy. I support this person, I like this person, I don't like that. You know, you could pretty much, social media has connected us all to the point where it's not just about the art, but it's about if someone, you know, it's really truly about the artist as well. You know, what's the artist stand for? What is the artist, you know, what is the art as far as what's the artist? Do I like this artist? What does this artist stand for? How does this artist create art? You know, I want to learn about this artist. Now you win some people over. All of a sudden, they start promoting you, start promoting your art, start showing everything. It's a little bit of a different story now with social media because you're not being, you know, gate kept, right? You have the opportunity, like everyone else, to go out there, create a little niche, a little something different with, you know, what if, right? And I'm just shooting the shit with you right now because this is like, sometimes I get ideas and thoughts through talking to people. I mean, what if you put like all these loves together? Like you created a special brew for NFT NYC. And at the same time, you created a special artwork. And then that artwork became the label on that special brew. And then you went to NFT NYC and started giving out this brew and getting all the reactions, right? And then that would probably bring some worth to this piece of artwork now that you would have posted as an NFT for sale. And then maybe somehow you could whittle in the original, right? The because you're not, yeah, okay, let's get back on track. The NFT NYC, right? So did the NFT scene, was it the art first? Did you have your studio? Were you set up in creating, or did you stumble into NFTs? How did that whole thing happen right there?
I had my space, but I was just trying to think of ways to get eyes on my art, and then I was like, kind of just, I would just go to spaces. I would just sit in the room and listen to people talk, and kind of just, you know, never came up, never spoke, nothing. And I was like, you know what? I was like, these guys are having these crazy ass collections. I'm like, how in the fuck are they? Somebody drawing 10,000. You know, PFPs, like that would take like 20 years. There's got to be an easier way to do it. So, and then I started getting into, okay, you can draw all these, you know, you can draw this trait, this trait, this trait, and layer it. And then that really intrigued me. Like, I was like, oh shit. So I can just, you know, add a layer, do this, draw, you know, whatever, draw this. And I was like, this is fucking cool.
Did you discover NFTs because you were just hanging out on Twitter, or were you led to Twitter and space? Because NFTs.
I was actually led to Twitter.
Okay.
By NFTs. Okay. The NFTs I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I could just throw these. And I started on Instagram. Okay. You know, I was just posting. I think I did a couple. I did like one weird generative collection, and they were like only 1,000 NFTs. Nobody bought one of them. So I'm like, okay. So I did another one, and then nobody bought none of them. So I'm like, I better need to start paying attention to how you get some eyes on your artwork. So that's what led me to whatever. And then I did a free mint on Polygon about 3 years ago. I did a Scald collection where I just had a skull, and it would different colors in the background. The eyes would change, you know, nothing crazy. Did a free mint, and then it minted out. I'm like, oh shit. So then I took those and I whitelisted everybody, because since they were free per wallet, you could only mint 4. So I figured, okay, I'll whitelist everybody that had 5. So I kind of stirred up a little bit of, you know, okay, so made people go in and buy one off secondary or whatever. And then I whitelisted everybody that had 5 for my mead collection, which was a derivative of the Scald collection. But it's a Viking tankard, a wooden Viking tankard with, you know, it's got the skull on it. But then I started adding like different traits to that, like different drink traits and stuff like that. And like just layering that was I seen that was a whole artwork in itself. You know what I mean? Like all that, making sure everything lines up. That's that was another beautiful part about the NFTs that I really, really liked. And so then I did that. And then at the same time, I was coming up in spaces, started talking a little bit, and started getting to meet people and getting to know people. And, I've met NF Creeps Steve early in the thing because our artwork styles are kind of the same, skulls and crazy weird aliens and stuff on some of my shit. And I was like, hey man, the first NFT NYC, I'm coming up there. I got to meet him. We got to hang out. And then I've been back to New York, I think 5 times since. I just went up in October and we went to a haunted house out in Long Island. It was fucking cool as fuck. I took my 2 oldest boys, and now I'm starting to actually meet real people, instead of people that are just here for, scoop your liquidity and bounce, so now it's completely turned into a whole different thing for me. So
what okay, so interesting. So and here's so this is something that I find interesting, that actually it had an effect on you. It had an effect on me. I had an effect, I think, on every artist in the space at the time. So 3 years back, I'm going to say that was like right around 21, 22. And that was like the after hype of the cyberpunks, the Bored Apes, Azuki, I think Pudgy Penguins. There was a few collections, 10,000 collections. Things were like really hot at that time. And so it caught a lot of attention of artists that were sitting in the space who really didn't know anything about the art side of everything that was taking place. And it caused a lot of artists to create this, I'm going to do 1,000 collection. I'm going to do a 10,000 collection. I'm going to create these things one at a time. And so artists all of a sudden started creating collections, because I think that's when all artists thought, like, the only way I'm going to enter this space is if I have some sort of collection, because that seems to be doing the best, rather than one-on-one art. And now, over the course of 3 years, I feel like it's kind of changed. There's an art presence. There's art galleries, art worlds. And even me, when I first came into the space, I didn't know where to start. I would always hang out in this one space called Mongoose Space. And I'd just sit in that space, and he would just sit there, and Mongoose would just sit and listen to NFT, PFP projects, and he would go through them, and what does this have for a utility? What does this offer? Never came across art. And then as the market turned bare and things started getting quieter and a lot of people left, it turns out the only people that kind of stayed were the artists. A lot of PFP projects got quiet. There were a few working pretty hard, but not that many that became successful. All of those. I don't know if you ever came across that PFP project. I want to say it was NFT NYC 2023. There was a PFP project where I bumped into a couple people. They said they were buying the PFPs for $1,200. I said, "What did you spend? You spent $1,200 on a JPEG?" "Yeah." "Okay, is there a utility for that? Like, how did that happen?" Right? And he said, "Well, the guy that was selling them had 1,000 of them, and his plan was to restore a brewery. He had a brewery, or maybe he owned a brewery, or he took over a brewery. And now what you get when you buy your $1,200 PFP is quarterly, you would get these beers, all these different beers that they shipped, right? They would send out something to all their PFP owners. Did you ever come across that project? You remember that project at all?
No, I don't. That was something that I was thinking about earlier, but I'm not a corporation, so I can't legally ship beer in the United States. I can't legally ship beer. I can legally ship yeast samples because technically there's still yeast in the bottle, so there is like a gray area, and I have shipped out some beers to some of my friends and stuff like that. So I'm always nervous when I do it, but it is a legality because you can ship them off for beer competition stuff. You just got to label them correctly. But no, I've never came across that. And like I said, if I would have just stuck around a little bit earlier in the spaces, I would not have put out a collection. I have a collection now, and I'm not going to go anywhere with the collection. I'm not going to rug the collection. I'm always trying to bring value to my collection. I'm always thinking of ways to bring value to my collection. I'm thinking now it's physical art. I've already given away a whole bunch of paintings to people that minted, but I think if hindsight 2020, I think from the beginning I probably would have just stayed a one-on-one artist.
Right.
Because now it's like, then it's a weird space.
We all got distracted, Dave.
Yeah, once you have a collection, then all of a sudden it seems like you're no longer just an artist, because most founders, they're founders. Usually the artists don't have the collection. It's a collection, and this is the artist of that collection.
There's no utility. They don't expect nothing.
Right. Hey, I got this one piece here, or I'll have this piece with like 5 editions or something. If I would have just, took like 3 steps back, I probably never would have put out a collection. But I do enjoy, I have minted, I got my collection, my mead cups are at, I think it's only like 669 of them. So it's not a lot. And I've minted about 250 of them. So I'm like a third of the way there, baby. And then, like, what do you do when you mint out? I mean, these other people have these big plans, and I'm like, I never really thought that far into the future, because I did the skull collection. Now, free mint, like, what do you expect for a free mint? You know what I mean? Nothing. It's a fucking free mint. It was on Polygon. It cost like 3 cents. So that one minted out pretty fast. 1,000 NFTs minted out in about. It was about 2 months, and that was just me shilling. And hey, I got a free mint, come and mint. I got, give you a white list for whatever, and it seemed to work pretty good. And then it seemed like the market just took a huge fucking dump. And then I picked Polygon. And Polygon I don't even think they have any spaces anymore. It's like they completely just, I don't know what the fuck's going on over Polygon. And then we had the. I was using all my contracts on Third Web. So Third Web rugged everybody, and they ripped everybody's contract down because of security issues. So I had to, and this is in the middle while I was minting my mead cup. So I had to airdrop everybody and start a whole nother collection on a brand new contract. And I'm like, you know what? I should have just been a fucking one-of-one artist, or, stuck with that. But I'm going to get through it. And someday probably I'll mint out, and once a year, I always I'll airdrop everybody a little piece of artwork. And then what I do is I have them send that piece of artwork back to a burn wallet. I burn them, and I take everybody's wallet, and I do a drawing, and I'll send them out a physical piece of artwork. So that's just kind of my way of bringing some kind of value back to my NFTs. And, I don't have anybody. It's just me. I'm the artist. I'm the coder. I'm the marketing manager. You know what I mean? These big projects, they got huge, a lot of people behind them, and it's just fucking me, and now I'm starting to see the power of community, like getting people, hey, getting in with some communities, meeting people like yourself. And it's just, I think that's where we actually, that's where the core is. And that's which I would have realized at the beginning of whenever I started getting NFTs, was that is where to start. You just can't start dropping 1,000-piece collections. So.
Well, I was right behind you. I didn't know. I was left, right. I didn't know what move to make. All that I was introduced. So, it's okay. The Beeple thing, right? The Beeple made a big sale, 69 million. It caught my attention, and then just trying to figure out what are NFTs that ended up in spaces. That's where I started learning. Same thing as you. I had a Twitter since 2009, never used it. All of a sudden, found out that everybody was sitting in spaces talking about NFT art. I was on there every day. Had spaces. I thought spaces was the greatest thing since, sliced white bread. I was just in there every single day, listening to spaces, listening to projects, jumping from space to space to space, trying to get as much information. Obviously, there was a lot of people that were more established at the time. You had photographers that were established, artists that were established, you had people on Super Rare that was established, and also a very hot market at the time. Then, it's the same thing happened to you, happened to me. All right, that's it. Got to have a collection. I'll make a collection of 1,000 question marks. I'll, create each one differently, design each one differently, make each one. It might take me some time, but it'll be worth it. It'll be hard, right? Never got to that. And things started getting quiet, started seeing the projects fall off. And then all of a sudden I find all these artists, whole world of artists, you know, everybody, 101, 110s, got additions. Because it seemed like it was the only thing left in spaces was artists left, you know, and everybody's trying to like, hey, have you used this platform, that platform, Exchange Art, Object, Tezos? Yeah, it's just still trying to figure out how everything works. Now, 3-4 years later, I'm pretty confident about, you know, understanding my way, figuring out my way around wallets, blockchains, you know, where to release, kind of who to watch, see what they do. And then kind of, you know, there's a wave of energy where everybody's kind of like following, I guess maybe following the money or following the most convenient site where artists seem to be all hovering because there's people spending money there or they're deriving some sort of payment out of it. Drip seems to be pretty hot right now. Remix seems to be pretty, well, Remix, I think that's how people say it. Remix, RM, right? Remix, R-E-M-X, Remix. Yeah, that they seem to be doing, wherever artists seem to be cutting a check, that's where they seem to be wandering. And at the same time, everybody is submitting through Hug, submitting all these, you know, different, the screens, any type of screen anywhere. You know, everybody's submitting they're staying active. They're keeping this little arena active. This NFT art world is staying active. Now you're seeing a lot of the galleries, real life galleries, where physicals, right? You're a little different. A lot of people come into the NFT space, they immediately start creating digital arts of work. Here you are, you know, creating physical pieces of art, which a lot, you know, it's a mix. Usually physical artists stay in the physical world. Digital artists make a transition. Now they start doing digital stuff and digital artwork. You have seen a lot of changes in the last 3 years. Now you decide to get into physical artwork, one-on-one artwork, and now you're pitching and putting your artwork out there. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that. And from your perspective, you know, obviously you've become very driven because you didn't disappear. You didn't go back to IG and decide I'm going to sell here. You decided to stay focused, and now here you are, and everybody knows you. Everybody that I know knows you. I didn't know you, but a lot of people, a lot of different artists that I hang out with, Ooka, right? And so now, obviously, you've been around, you've been in the area. I'm getting to know you now. We've gotten to know each other through spaces. You obviously have some perspective on the collections, the PFP projects, and now moving into this artist one-of-one world. And maybe you could speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's you know, everybody's always going to follow the money. Wherever the money's it's always, right. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You know what I mean? And you're going to have everybody rugging. And yeah, if it wasn't for NFTs, I probably wouldn't even be trying to think of trying. I don't even know how the hell I'm going to tap into the physical world. To tell you the truth, I'm just going to keep posting my stuff, and you know what I mean? Like maybe do prints or something, try to sell prints or something like that. But I mean, yeah, that's a kind of a tough one, but it was.
I think you're on the right track. You know, sounds like to me somebody invests in an NFT of yours. There might be a physical coming behind it, right? I mean, it sounds like that you have that idea where you're bringing value to that NFT on top of that value that's already there. When somebody, you know, I guess there's a couple ways you could look at this, right? Because when somebody invests in your art, they're investing in you. The way I look at it is I would be investing in your company, right? In Ookaswacka Inc., right? I'm investing in you as an artist because as I'm purchasing your NFT art, whether there's a physical or not, whatever the deal is, or I want your physical, the money that I'm sending for you for your art, I want to see what happens from that, right?
Yeah, you people that invest in PFP projects, they're always looking at the utility. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
And it seems like it seems like the switch has been flipped a little bit because I've been seeing some of them starting to come back a little bit now, and the hype seems so. And another thing I noticed in like the last 3 years is there's waves. There's like, you got NFT season where they're hot as fuck, and then you got the meme coin season. Seems like this year the meme coin season lasted a long fucking time, and everybody's like, again, they're chasing the money. So, but it's just, yeah, I'm hoping. I always, I mean, I just think, bring value to the NFT. Me personally, I'm gonna try to do with physical art because obviously, my utility is beer, but who the fuck's driving to Ohio to drink some free beer that bought one of my NFTs? You know what I mean? So, and that was one of my little thing. Like, what's your utility? It's like beer, free drinks. So, and that's what I said when I went to NFT last year. I was like, anybody owns a meat cup and you see me at NFT NYC, hit me up. I'll give you a free beer, or owe you a beer. And people came up to me and was like, hey man, they'd show me their wallet. I was like, all right, whatever you want, I'll buy it. You want a beer, you want a coffee, you want a fucking milk, I'll buy that. That was kind of a little fun thing. And a couple people, took me up on it. But yeah, to get back to your question, it was just like, I don't even know where the train of thought's going now. But.
Well, all right. So you got the physical works, right? Which is I can't believe it, but it's we're already at 10:05. So, yeah, the conversation is cooking. Why don't you talk a little bit about your physical art, right? Because now you have a lifespan of art. Sounds like you did a lot of doodling in books, a lot of drawing. A lot of scriptive stuff, pens, maybe colored pens. I'm not sure, right? But it sounds like a lot of stuff in notebooks and books. But that's not like how I'm getting to know you. Now I'm looking and I see a lot of canvases. I see a lot of brushes. I jump into your lives. I see you in there painting. Obviously, the physicals have changed a bit, and now you're moving more towards canvas. Do I have that correct? I mean, maybe you could talk a little bit about the evolution of your art and now where we are right now at this point in time when it comes to your physical art.
Yeah, I always wanted to paint. I just never really sat down to do it. And about a year and a half ago, I was like, you know what? I bought some paintbrushes, I bought some paint, and I bought a couple canvases, and I just started fucking around. I was like, I know how to draw, so let me see what I can do with a paintbrush. I did a portrait of my dogs, you know what I mean? And I got it in there. I used oil, and learning how to use oils was a whole different animal because I didn't realize that at the time that they take so long to dry. So I was like, all right, let me try a second one. I'll use some acrylics. And then I didn't realize how fast acrylics dry. So it's like, I love both mediums. I can blend oils a little better. But now I'm like, so I'm like, yeah, now I'm going to paint, and I still turn on the drawing tablet, do my digital stuff too. We just did a collection for the SCW. I did a digital piece of that. So I guess now my digital pieces would be one-on-ones, and my canvas art obviously one-on-ones. And I put a couple prints on my website. You can go in and get prints if you want. I'm working on that. I've had the website for like 3 years. Pretty much it was just started off just a mint page, for all my shit. And now it's evolved, and I have a gallery on there. You can actually go in and check out all the gallery, I've scanned probably hundreds of my old ink pen drawings. They're all fucking weird, just crazy looking shit. So, but yeah, I'm evolving now, and I'm learning. I learn something every day, especially with painting. I just okay, I can do this, that, and okay, this isn't working. This isn't working. So I think it's just very important to learn something every day and just keep going and try to improve yourself the best you can, or learn as much as you can. And just sometimes, I get in a zone and I just start going with it. And I don't even, sometimes I don't know if you can see the one in the background right there, the red fox back there holding a can of Colt 45. I did that painting. And then when I was done with it, it took me about a month. And when I was done with it, I was kind of like, how in the fuck did I do this? You know what I mean? It was so weird. It's like I was always in this just zone. So I just like getting into that spot, and I'm happy. I'm happiest in that spot whenever I'm just doing it and just letting it just come flow out of me. Sometimes it's not coming from me. It comes from somewhere else. I know that's kind of woo woo, but that's where I'm at.
Well, all right. So question, Dave. Have you I mean, because I've read you, I've been on your website, went through all your links, and we're going to do that. We're going to move over to the computer in about 5 or 10 minutes. Uh, and then we're going to start showing off some of your art to everybody and everything that you got going on. Even the collections that you still have up. I got those up as well. Now, um, have you I did read that, self-taught artist, right? But have you turned to YouTube at all? YouTube University? Do you
No.
watch other painters? I mean, where or are you just like strictly like, I'm going to learn and I'm going to go right from the core and I'm not paying attention to what anyone else is doing? How do you approach learn? Because I see, you're a fairly new painter. You've only been at it for a year. Sounds like the first time you bought canvases and paints were about a year ago. So not that much experience, but now decided that this is the next step, right? So I would imagine that somebody might want to watch how others are painting, how other brushes work. I don't know, right? Because I haven't gotten to the stage. I used to be a really big airbrusher, and I used to do that almost for a living, airbrushing for almost 2 or 3 years. And so I always used to, they had an airbrushing air magazine, which was for airbrushing. I used to read that religiously, books. I didn't have YouTube or tutorials or anything like that. Now, if I was to start painting, I'd probably turn on YouTube and start learning about brushes and brush. I don't know. Have you anything like that? Or are you just going hardcore? Like, I'm going to learn straight from scratch. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I took every single art class in my high school. I took them even twice just because, so I had some pretty good art teachers early on, when I was young.
Okay.
But and I like just I it's all I know painting. It's all about lighting, you know what I mean, and values pretty much. So the way you get to those values or the way you get to that color or whatever, and it doesn't have to be perfect as long as you figure out that this is going to be darker than this. I think it all just comes kind of naturally to me. Like I said, I'm not saying I was like not the best painter in the world. I'm figuring it out, and I have watched a couple videos of people that I like. Oh wow, but I'm not going to sit there and watch a how to paint video. So I will watch some work in progresses of some people that I like. Oh wow, that's a fucking dope ass painting. So I'll see how, kind of, even if they sped it up, I see what they're doing there. I take little kind of mental notes that stick in the back of my head, just watching stuff like that. And
Okay.
so that's kind of where it's coming. So yeah, I'm just dipping in, and I'm just gonna keep doing what I like to do. I'm not gonna let anybody tell me this is how you should be doing it. This is how you should not be doing it. I'm just gonna do it my way. And like I said a while ago, if you don't fucking like it, I really don't fucking care because I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for you. And hopefully it resonates with somebody somewhere along the way. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell right there. So.
Well, it's interesting because they say in the future, all the way we learn and everything that we watch everything's gonna be short form video. So it's pretty interesting what you're saying because I feel the same way. If I'm watching an artist, I'm just thinking like, what if today Bob Ross was still alive, right? And we'd be watching whips of happy little trees, and so I mean, you never realized how much you learn just from watching that guy paint,
Mm-hmm.
the way he would create things, the way he would use his palette, or the way he used the sharp brush, and then now with social media. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people painting. You can find your source, you can find the person you like, and then just from what they're releasing on social media, you could watch and get a very good understanding of how someone is creating that work of art. And that goes for you too, right? I mean, you're creating these whips, which, I'll always say that the whips and the social media. Okay, here's something that I always say, right? You could be creating the best works of art. You could be the best painter in the world. But if nobody sees the work of art, then nobody knows, right? And now that's where social media kind of comes in. And a lot of times as artists, we don't want to sit there and set up these fucking cameras, these cell phones and falling over. Then I got to charge it. Shit, I can't paint right now because I got to wait for my phone to charge. Got to hook up a battery. Yeah, there's a lot that, I need a microphone. Oh, now I got to speed it up. Now I got to learn editing. There's a lot of shit involved where if not everybody has a social media team backing them. So you got to watch what, resonates, what people are watching, what goes viral. And then you got to kind of lean towards that way and then create something, hope you film it right, put it together, and then possibly that might go viral. That'll bring a lot of eyes to your work. So a lot of our success, I think, is in the artist's hands. I don't know if you agree with that or disagree, but also the workload, if you were creating art 100% of the day, you now have to give up 50% of your day to get on Spaces, to make posts, to let people. You are essentially your own marketing manager.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just curious.
No, I was just going to say, I think everybody now, they want to just see how the sausage is made instead of just enjoy the sausage. You know what I mean? That's
right.
That seems to be like, okay, this guy has a really cool, whip video, so, and I struggle with this. This is something that I'm like really struggling with. Like, I know I suck at promoting myself. And as an artist, it's really hard because and this is actually like the first time that I actually got to dive deep and talk about myself. And usually that's why I would sit on Spaces when I first came around for, 3 weeks before I decided that, fuck, I'm going to hit that request button and see what, then they call my name. And I'm like, oh shit. So then I was like, then all of a sudden it was just like, okay, my crazy personality just kicks in because I like singing karaoke, like, I start just like singing on the microphone and just trying to be a little crazy or whatever, and I think it kind of helped. But whenever it comes to making a whip video, I'm like, fuck, what do I need to do? Should I set up a camera? Should I be recording every single process of this? Do I have enough SD card to even fucking record fucking 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Shit, I didn't hit the record button.
And then I got to sit down at my fucking computer. And then I got to take it all. And because, I did it with like brew videos. I was going to do like a how-to brew video. I recorded it and every little thing, recorded. Then I was going to put it all together and put it into like a little how to brew video. And I have all the footage. I just, whenever it comes to editing, I'm like, fuck, I ain't got time. I'd rather just, slap that paint on that canvas instead of edit that fucking video. So, and apparently, some people have a guy, hey, you need to edit this video for me. That's fucking awesome, but I ain't got that guy yet. So it's just gonna be stupid ass pictures of me like banging my head against a fucking mirror or something. The next couple of weeks trying to figure out content.
Well, I say a lot of times to myself, right? Create something that you want to brag about, right? Create your best piece of art. Something. Expend every resource and everything you got to create the best piece of art that you possibly can create. And when you step back and you look at it, it's so good that you want to talk about it. You want to post about it. You want to start editing those little videos about it. And that's how I kind of go about it with myself, right? Doesn't matter what I'm shooting. Doesn't matter what I'm creating or what I'm doing. I'm pushing myself to create the best possible thing I can create. And then when I step back and I take a look at it, I'm like, And if I'm like, it's not something I'm going to want to cut a whip video to. But if I step back and I'm like, fucking A, and that smile cracks. And like, I can't wait to get on social media to start showing it, And so I tend to find that generally kind of guides me when it comes to, because I'm like you, I don't want to. I set, like your brewing. I take a lot of pride in my grass, and so I've watched all the YouTubers. I've watched all these grass guys, and I got this idea where I'm gonna fix the lawn around the studio. It's always looked like shit. It's always been mostly weeds. And now I got this thing where I'm going to fix the lawn. I'm going to have lines in the lawn. I'm watching all these lawn guys, and now I start to follow and figure things out. And it's getting to a point where, like, I'm trying to document. I scratched my main lens on my camera. I didn't have a UV filter. I'm weed whacking an edge, and I'm shooting rocks into the camera, and like now I got scratches all over my lens, and so like I'm not this social media. Like I like a good movie, but like you plan to shoot a good movie. Every time you do something now, you got to shoot this shit. You got to set your cameras up. You got to make sure your batteries are fucking charged. You got to have a hard drive space. You got to transfer this hard drive. Then you got to sit and you got to edit it. You can edit it on, you got to edit it vertical. You got to edit it horizontal. Which way do you shoot it? Which way do they turn the phone? Where am I going to post it? Right? Like it just becomes a pain in the ass. Unless you find like that little niche that works for you. I don't know. That's just how I function, right? If I find myself picking up the camera on the phone or the camera to start filming something, I really like what I'm creating because I want to show people what I'm creating, or I want to show the behind the scenes, or I might even go live. I remember there was a time period back when Twitch was pretty hot where I was going live every Friday night and I was editing my photos that I was shooting throughout the week. Nobody cared because it was more video game. Everybody wanted to watch video game players, right? And, integrate that into the shooting. But I was watching some of the best digital drawers at the time, and they weren't pulling more than 300 people. But then you go watch a guy play a video game at 54K tuning in, right? So it's like, that's not... So sometimes the internet can be a little bit of a frustrating place. We're coming up on 10:20. You want to move over to the computer and maybe go through some of your art and show everybody what you got going
Sure.
on? All right.
Yeah.
Let me move over here.
Me, man.
This way we can let's get through some of this. All right. Yeah, man, that Colt 45, man, that would be everywhere. That's such a great piece. I'm going into.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that whenever I built my little studio here, it's an old beer advertisement from Ebony magazine back in like 1972. It was Red Fox. He did a ad for Colt 45. I actually printed it out, like made a poster out of it. And I had it hanging in here. It was like one of the very first pieces I hung up, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make that a painting. My wife's like, yeah, good luck. So I'm like, oh, you just watch. I'm gonna do it. So
what has been the response from your family with your painting? Have you revealed, or do you bust out these pieces, or do you bring people in and do you bring your family in and see the type of response that you get? How do you?
Oh yeah, they're always like, "Holy shit, how the hell did you do that?" I'm like, I don't fucking know. That's usually how it is, and like a lot of my friends, I posted to them, and they're like, "Oh shit," my real life friends. Everybody on Twitter is like, "Oh, that's amazing, that's great," But I posted a couple things, and it got me some commissions. I did some dog paintings for Christmas, and I just finished. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there's an owl up there. I just finished that one. That was my last commission for the year.
Yeah.
I did that for one of my friends. Some of my son's friends have gotten a hold of me just seeing stuff on Instagram, so it is kind of catching on. They're like, "Oh, could you?" But it seems like everybody wants me to paint their pet, and I don't want to be the the dog painter. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit there the rest of my life and paint portraits of dogs, but I will. Just because, right now I will.
What is your what is your number one preference of what if you could paint anything you wanted all day? What would that be?
It would be aliens, like that big one I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Just because who the fuck's gonna tell you you're wrong painting an alien? You know what I mean?
It'd be like a good time to bring out the aliens.
Yeah, with all that shit going on up by you.
You got Josh all upset here. What's up, guys? I see you guys dropping in. Captain Fudo. What's happening, Josh? What's happening? Josh said, now's the time to paint those damn pets.
Everybody likes a pet painting, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
about
I'll
that.
do it. Then when I do them, I do them in my style. So there's always gonna be a little kind of twist in there somewhere. That's like, oh, that's kind of fucked up, but that's I gotta put my mark on it somewhere.
Pets drinking brews. All right.
Alien, that's the other one.
Okay. So Uka, we have your website up right now. I have your website next to you. We got the gallery, we got the shop, we got about, and we got the Mead NFTs. I'm gonna bring up the shop. Let's show them the shop for a little bit. Interesting, right? Because you seem to do something that I always tell artists got to do immediately, right? Merchandise. I had a very good friend. He was on the show, Miguel. He always used to tell me, merchandise, Mark, merchandise. That's where you're going to do your best as an artist, especially if they like something. Stickers, bags, coffee mugs. They'll go nuts over the designs. You never know. Sweatshirts, sweatpants. Who knows? A lot of times celebrities, artists, things of that nature, they're looking for something new to add to their wardrobe. They come across your website, they find your art, they buy a sweatshirt of your art. Now, next thing you know, they're in a music video with your art on them. And then now everybody wants to know who the artist is. You never know how it happens, right? As long as you believe and you keep putting it out there that in the universe that, it's going to happen. So just wanted to show this real quick that your shop on your website that you've taken your art and actually applied it to coffee mugs, glasses, bags. Not only that, but I think you have these prints, or are these the actual?
Yeah, no, some of they're prints. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually going to put a section on there for the actual piece someday, and
Okay.
and I am the web designer, and I am not a very good web designer, and that's just a couple of the products because it takes a long time to set up a product. You know what I mean? So, and I need to start carving out a day because I want to start adding more products and more artwork to some of them. So the shop's not it's just some of the stuff that I did. I sat down a whole day, and that's the stuff I came up with in one day. But I don't know, you got that right up there. See that the mushroom painting? That's a very large painting. It's an acrylic painting that I did, and it's pretty cool. So I decided to try it on a hoodie, like an all over print hoodie, and I ordered one, and it came out pretty fucking dope. And I ain't gonna lie, it was pretty fucking sick. So my daughter was modeling it for me, and I posted some pictures of her, and I given some of them away in some spaces too to people. So
Okay.
yeah, that's the painting right there. That's the painting that is behind me. You can't see it. I think it's off camera, but it's a 4 foot by 4 foot canvas, and you can get a smaller print of it. And I another thing is like taking pictures for the products is another pain in the ass because I don't have $1,000 camera. I'm using a Canon little, 70-80 dollar, digital camera, and then I'm trying to set it up outside, trying to take pictures of this massive thing, and then I got to go in and try to edit it. So that's another problem is trying to get the hand drawn stuff. That's easy because I can just scan it and it'll just scan on the scanner and they come out really amazing. But yeah, that one came out actually better than what I expected.
Well, a lot of artists don't even have a shop or give their, give their collectors, a way to, maybe purchase something different, or give anybody who comes across your art a way to purchase something different. Matter of fact, let me turn this camera back so it looks like we're talking to each other here. I always forget to bring this camera back. There we go. All right, so now we should be looking at each other here.
There you go.
All right. Okay, so I did want to show you gallery. I wanted to show your site. Let's go to, I do want to bring up your gallery, even though I feel like Instagram is just a little bit better of a walk through all of your drawings and your life. But let's scroll through this gallery, this box.
Yeah, the gallery's got a lot of my hand-picked stuff that I've scanned, a lot of
Okay.
scanned. Some of, like I said, they're mostly ink pen drawings, and it has some new stuff and some of my NFT stuff in there as well.
The skull, which is your PFP. How was that created?
That was digitally created. I did that with my drawing tablet, and that was the base skull for my very first NFT collection.
Okay. The box. I want to say it's almost like it's not pink.
Oh, the cube.
The cube. Yeah,
That one there was actually I did a small Tezos collection where I called it Tez Skulls, where I did a whole bunch of weird things, and then I did and the one right below that is another skull. But I did a raffle for people that bought the Tez Skulls, and whenever it sold out, I took all the wallets and then I let two people. I made them a special one-on-one. So that's a one-on-one. I think, Chaos Cube, you've probably seen him around the spaces. He talks like this. It's kind of crazy. He's got his Chaos Cube. I made that one for him. It's like, so I made a skull cube for him. And then the other one was another one-on-one that I drew digitally and gave that. Those are NFTs that are out there for people. They're on Tezos. I gave them away as one-on-ones for minting out some of the Tez skulls.
The one below it with the skull with the red eyes. Is this a normal skull?
It's actually an ape skull.
I knew it.
It's an ape skull with I think I called that like Neuralink or something, NeuroApe or something like that. It was like a computer in the brain or something like that. That was one that I did for Ryan. He minted some of my Tez skulls and he won the special NFT through a raffle. So I created him that special one-on-one. So I'm also making, try and add value by creating people special one-on-ones and stuff like that too. So, and then you see the colorful skulls down there. That was part of the Tez skull collection that people, I made like 12 different skulls with 3 editions each or something like that. And
the skulled collection, is that the collection that is on OpenSea?
Yes, that was my very first collection that I did.
Okay, I'm gonna bring that up while we're talking about it. All right, so I have I have the skulled collection that's on OpenSea, open right now. Was this the first collection that you?
Yeah, that was my first collection. If you see the ones at the top there, those were one-on-ones that I as I was minting out, I was using one-of-one art for incentives for people to go mint for free, and then I was doing raffles.
Okay.
So then pretty much the eye color changes, the mouth changes, the background changes. It wasn't nothing crazy. But the ones at the top there were the special one-on-ones that I've done for people. You can see.
And how many are in this collection?
There's 1,000, and then I think with the additional one-on-ones, there's like 1,006, I think.
Okay. And so you actually took advantage of the whole degenerative programming, correct?
Yes. Yeah, layering and.
How does that work? I mean, for people who don't know.
It's a Python script, so you need to know a little bit of coding. And I watched videos, Hashlips. I'm pretty sure you guys are all familiar with Hashlips. He did it was his art engine. You load it in Python. You load all the different layers. Make sure you labeled them all correctly, and then you generate the collection. So, I think in the skull collection, if there's a background, there's an inner circle. There's eyes, so the eyes actually change different direction, and the eyes change different colors. And then there's like a teeth trait. There's like goofy
in there too, right?
fangs, missing, and I think regular. So it was like 4 or 5 traits. And, that collection is about 3 years old, and I use that collection as a whitelist for the mead cups. But
so it's interesting because whenever I speak to the artists who are around in that 2021, 22 time period, it seems like even if you were a one-of-one artist, for some reason you had an idea to release a collection of 1,000 something or other, right? Every artist I speak to. And it might have not ended up at 1,000. Some people might have stopped at 50 or 30 or, 100 or, 200, 500. But everybody had the same idea at that point in time. It must have been that much of an influence from the whole ape Azuki time period, right? It's just.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even know at the time you know, I'm always hearing about these generative collections. Like, oh shit, how do you do that? How do you?
Right,
So
right.
that got my brain spinning, and then I didn't even realize that you could. Oh shit, you could just mint one NFT. I thought you had to mint like 1,000 of them or something at the time. Like I said, hindsight 2020. I mean, I am glad, and you know, I learned a lot. I've
Yeah, no,
learned
I
a
mean, you went
lot.
further than most, right?
Yeah, so I'm just a sponge for information, and I love learning new stuff every single day.
I noticed that this a lot. Like, yeah, you start to see a lot of the same similarities with artists. It's like it had the same effect with a lot of artists. A lot of artists all of a sudden went from their one-on-ones to like, I gotta create a collection, and
Yeah.
you know, so
I went the other way. I started a collection, and then I'm like, wait, fuck, I'm just gonna do one-on-ones.
I'm okay. I'm shifting back now. Let's see, where were we? I'm gonna shift back to your Instagram. I got your link tree up, right? Okay, so here's your X. I want to show everybody your X, just so they know what your X is. And then this is your link tree that's next to it. I'm gonna open up your link tree, which I have. Then this is your site. Now your site is on your link tree. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Home
it should be.
Ookaswacka. Okay. Just out of curiosity, why didn't you connect the IG? Any reason in particular?
Because I'm an idiot.
All right,
I need no,
never mind.
I need to do
Yeah,
that. I need to get
at
all
least
that
you're
done.
honest.
Like these are things I need to change my banner too to more of my signature too. And there's a lot of things I need to do. It's just,
I'm digging through all your links, opening up everything, right? And I'm like, where's his IG? And I'm like, I know he has an IG. I linked him
yeah,
when I made
it's
the post.
Ookaswacka.art. It's the same as my website. That's my IG.
And
So
then I
I
didn't
need to
know.
put that in my link tree.
Some people might have like a personal issue with like, no, don't go over there, you know. And I'm like,
No, I have no personal issues.
okay.
And with me, what you see is what you get. You know, I'm not trying to be fake. I just try to keep it as real as possible. So I ain't got no dick pics out there, so you ain't got to worry about that.
So you're the sketches, the sketch part, right?
Yeah.
Are these all from the sketchbook?
Yeah, those go back. Those are all mostly just ballpoint pen. So usually, you know, I don't even use a pencil. I just draw them with start off with a ballpoint pen and go at it. And I always like the way. And I don't know why. That's just something that I always just enjoyed is ballpoint pen. And back from high school, I had a ballpoint pen. I'd sit there and draw. Like that's actually a sketch that I did with whatever. I have a gallery on what is that? I can't even remember. That's actually where I started.
Spatial or
yeah, spatial.
Okay.
Yeah, spatial.
Okay.
I actually started the gallery on spatial was the very first thing I ever did, and then that led me down the path that I'm currently on.
So many similarities. It's just crazy because I feel like all the artists were moving together, but yet everybody was on their own path, right? So many artists created galleries, they created collections. And the more artists that I speak to, it's just interesting to hear the time period and see where they came in and what they decided to do, whether they went one-on-one. It just goes to show you how much influence the whole NFT world had on all of these artists sitting in the space, right? Because it was like immediately artists abandoned the one-of-one idea and everybody became a degenerative, you know, artist. I need a collection. I need a collection. And I was part of that too. You know, it was like I was like, it's just crazy to see now that I'm talking to everybody, the influence that everything has had. So you mentioned ballpoint, right? And a lot of this stuff, you know, most people draw, there's a theme there, right? And then a lot of these drawings seem unique, one of ones. I mean, you mentioned it once or twice in the show, but the idea of, or your visions or stuff that, you know, you see, do you see it beforehand? How does it evolve from nothing to, you know, the drawing?
Some things like most of the time, my ballpoint pen, I just start kind of scribbling a little bit, and then I let the artwork take me where it wants to go. I don't ever have a vision. I do have visions for my paintings, apparently. You know what I mean? Like, and some of my pieces, like that's just what ends up being. It's hard to explain. It's kind of like the art was already there. I just brought it to the forefront. I don't know. So sometimes I just kind of get in this zone, and whatever happens, happens. And that's how all my artwork, probably for the last 20 years, has probably been just chaotic, just wild, just whatever happens, happens. And now I'm starting to, trying to take it and pull it all together and try to make some kind of, sense out of the chaos, I suppose. Now that you're pulling up, that's my very first collection that I put out there.
The balloons. Hang on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go back.
that was me playing around with the art engine, learning how to like layer stuff, and I put it out there, and I took it down. So I'm like, oh, this is horrible. So, but I seen the Helium Head Sky Club, but you can see like, and I might, maybe someday I'll bring it back. You never know.
I mean, these wouldn't this be like the OG of your NFT collection?
Yeah, and I actually did another collection called A Dog Named Jack. You might find that on Instagram if you look deep enough. But I actually took a drawing of my dog and started putting like degen traits on him, like tattoos and glasses and shit like that. That was going to be another collection that I never put out. But I always posted pictures of them whenever I was done with them, because at the time I was addicted to the art engine. Like, oh shit, I could layer shit. I could layer this, and run it through the engine, and then I would draw like 30 different traits or whatever, and then I'd run it through the engine and then see all these different artworks popping out from my art. And I thought that was just like, I thought it was magical.
Isn't it interesting also how all of us physical artists who are so consumed with the art world and creating art had to become these technical wizards now? We had to figure out what smart contracts were, exchanges, how to mint. How much time did that come up? It's now it takes away from you creating art. This piece is awesome right here. I'm going to leave this till it comes up on your screen. Captain Fudo said he needs a balloon.
Captain Futon! That's my homie. Captain Futon.
So this piece is a very nice piece. You'll see. I don't think there's a name on it. Was there an old?
No, I can't remember the name of that one. I'm trying to think. Somebody has that piece. I took that to New York and actually gave them the physical piece.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I want to. Maybe Phoenix has it. Doodlegenics, one of them has it. But I took a couple pieces, like hand drawn stuff, and gave them away as gifts at NFT NYC.
So, question: will your older works start coming into play? Will you start including them in your newer paintings, or is everything going to be new from here on out?
It's funny that you say that, because some of the things that I was actually going through some of my old stuff, and I'm thinking about recreating it in a big format, in a big canvas format, and then maybe either keeping it black and white like a ballpoint pen, or maybe adding some color and just getting crazy with it. So you never know, probably in the future. That was actually one of the things that I was actually contemplating on the alien that I'm working on behind me here. It's like I was gonna get it and then blow it up and trace it on there with a projector or something, and then just have paint, see what I can do. But I'm probably going to start. Yeah, there it is. There's a dog named Jack. That's my dog.
So it's interesting, right? Because when you meet somebody now, right? When you meet an artist today, who's, been at it for 40, 30, 20 years, you're seeing what they're creating today. And then normally you go back through their social media and you start to see all of the beginnings of their art. And then you start to, you fast forward to today, and now you start to see how I don't think that I'm gonna keep moving. I don't think the fishbowl guy was his.
No, that was one of the early NFTs I minted, and I was there for a while. I was minting like a degen. You look at my wallet, I got fucking 600 NFTs in my MetaMask. I probably got 400 fucking NFTs and Tezos. I was just buying everything. So I collected a ton of shit too. So
How did you what were your thoughts and feelings getting into the community and then finding everybody and shooting the shit with everybody and realizing that there was a lot of people just like you, me, floating around in this space, more than a PFP project, but people who appreciate art, create art, love art, and kind of all on the same wavelength. I mean, was there a point where it kind of struck you, or like, you know what, I dig this space, or you know, how did that come to fruition?
yeah, that actually is what what kept me around, and that's actually what drove me to start painting on canvases. You know what I mean? Like, is like
Really?
started talking to people in the spaces, and then going to NFT NYC and actually meeting people face to face, and breaking bread with them and having a beer with them and getting to know them on a more personal level than be just behind a screen, and then I'm like, fuck, like the first time I went to NFT NYC 2 years ago, my wife was like, I was like, we're going to this conference up in New York. I didn't even have tickets to the event. I had no tickets. I'm like, I'm just going to go up to meet some people, hang out, go to some after parties. And she's like, well, I'd like to go to NFT, go to New York. Just so I got a hotel right in Times Square, spent a shit ton of fucking money, got to meet a whole bunch of cool ass motherfuckers. And then I think after that year, I went back for my birthday and got to hang out a little bit more with Steve and NF Creeps, and had a little get together with some other people there in August of that year. And then I went back in April and last year, and then we had a way bigger event, got to meet more people. Some people came from overseas, and I'm like, my wife is like, oh my God, your friends that you actually met online are really nice fucking people. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I'm not going to fucking go up and meet some jackass or something. I was like, like Danny, Captain Futon came out from Seattle. BB came out from Macedonia. And, Steve's my homie. We call each other and talk like probably once a week just on the back end, and I went back out there. And the last time I was like, I stayed in Times Square the first time, spent a shitload of money. And I DM'd him. I'm like, hey, man, I was like, I'm coming back in August. He's like, where should I stay? So he's from Brooklyn. So he's like, fucking stay in Brooklyn. It was like half the cost. So I'm like, fuck, this is great. We got a cool little spot in Brooklyn. We stayed there for about 3 or 4 days, had some fun. And then I think in April, we stayed in Brooklyn again in a different place. And then I just went back in October to hang out with Steve and his cousin. And I took my 2 oldest boys because they'd never been to New York. And I was like, I DM'd him like, okay, I stayed in Brooklyn. I was like, he was living with his cousin in Long Island at the time because he had some issues going on and had to move. He's finally back in Brooklyn now, but he was like, I was like, where should I stay? Tell me a cool spot. He's like, try Astoria. So I'm like, all right. So I booked a hotel in Astoria, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Kind of shitty to maneuver. I had to learn the bus routes instead of the subway routes, but I figured out how to, maneuver. And then me and my boys, we went all over that fucking city. And my favorite fucking place that I found that I just love this area, and I think when I go there in April or whenever they have NFT NYC, it's going to be Bushwick in Brooklyn.
June.
That fucking place is amazing. Bushwick.
June. I think. June.
Yeah, June.
NFT,
it's in June.
Right? And didn't they move the date?
Yeah, they don't even know where the fuck it's gonna. They're like, oh, we're having it in Times Square. Well, that fucking narrows it down, doesn't it? Like, what the fuck?
We've reached you brewing beer. What's up, Johanna? I see you.
Oh yeah, that's my whip video. That one there is the guitarist was one of my first paintings. I recreated Picasso's The Old Guitarist, but he's holding a flying V. My son's actually got that one. I gave it to him for Christmas. But yeah, I do the whole entire from the grain to that there is the inside one. There should be another video on Instagram that I posted. I don't know if you can find it or not, but it has like my brew shed. That one there was a brew video that I was doing for a small batch that I was gonna do for like an inside little tiny. But there should be a video on there of the whole entire brewing process in like a minute or whatever it is. Yeah, I always like doing the textured. That painting there, we're on a delay, but that one there that you're showing
I
is,
have the acrylic.
yeah, that's one I gave for Phoenix. I gave that as a gift at NFT NYC. So that was one of my, and when I use acrylics, I like to have them thick and I like to see textures. I want people to touch it and feel the textures on it.
All right, I'm still flicking Alien up. Yep, Josh likes that one. I knew he was gonna like that one with the texture. What about the mugs? Can we
Well, the
possibly have
mead, that's my current project, the mead
Is
cups.
that the mead? Oh,
Yep.
mead
It
cup.
stands for Molecular Enhancer for Advanced DNA. Yeah, there's my mead cups. Now, and I had some artists do some one-on-ones, CNF Creeps one-on-one in there. But the mead cups came actually, the whole entire collection came. When I was promoting the Scald collection, I would draw. Drew that little digitally, drew the little wooden tanker with the skull on it, and I would do like GM posts for people, and I would take their PFP and I would overlay the mead cup on their PFP as like a GM post for people, and then I was like, you know what? So I started I think somebody was like, just start doing some different layers or something. Do this. So I started doing layers and putting aliens, different brews and different backgrounds. And I asked a couple artists if they would do some one-on-ones for me. I think Captain Futon actually painted a painting for me that I have. You can't see it. It's above me. He actually gave it to me. He actually painted the mead cup, and there's 4 one-on-ones, and what I was doing, anybody that did a one-on-one for me, if they minted that one, I would actually send them the NFT. So NF Creeps did a one-on-one for me, and it got minted out in the whitelist. Danny, his painting's still sitting here, and I would ship that out if anybody ever mints another one-on-one. But there's one-on-ones on there and shit like that. So, but the mead cups, it was kind of came out of a weird thing. So, came from making GM posts with my Skull collection.
I see the painting on the floor. I see the paint on the floor, I should say. The studio is in full effect. You are now creating paintings. So I'm assuming that this has to be less than a year ago. That's correct. Timeline's up. All right. We're pulling back. We're starting to see some of these whips and the reveals. Oh, shit. I lost it. Give me 1 second to find where we were again. Here we are.
Yeah, I kind of like doing that. I like getting close and then filming and zooming out. I think that's kind of a neat little thing I was doing.
Now, are you well, I mean, now you got the digital, you got the physical, you got a favor between the two? I mean, you got the you got the sketchbook. What's your thing?
I guess it just depends. Like currently it's painting because that's where
I'm
a
mood thing?
Yeah, it's a mood thing. And like the digital, we did a little collection of the FCW collective, and I got to sit down and I work on the drawing tablet. I really love enjoying the drawing tablet. I have it set up the way I want it. I like all the different brushes, and I love the fact that you can just usually when I start off, I'll create like 15 layers, and then I just if I don't like that layer, I'll just go to the next one and go to the next one. And I just love the way you can layer on the drawing tablet digitally, and usually a sketch layer and then a base coat layer and then a fine detail layer or whatever. It's just I love doing all of it. I guess there's really no favorite. Right now I'm all about painting. So right now, currently, today, tomorrow, probably next week, we'll still be painting. But a week from now, I'll probably flip on my tablet and I'll just be like, okay, here we go. I'll start doing some shit on the tablet again. So
I'm not sure. There's a box here with a face on it. Did you create?
Oh, that's a Posca marker. There's I keep all my Posca markers in there, the paint markers,
okay.
And I drew on the box with Posca markers.
Yeah, that's a great piece right there. That on that box, man.
Yeah, he sits up in the corner up there. You could probably, well, I don't know if you can see him in the camera or not, but
yeah, there's something more there with these boxes, bro. I've never seen. You said, man, I like that. I'm going right now. I'm watching a tour of your studio. I'm looking all around right now. I'm getting to know the place. I'm watching the videos right now, getting to see your studio, showing everybody your little art studio.
Well, yeah, I see that when you're going into my bar area with the paintings on the floor and shit. And I think you probably get a glimpse of my taps on my wall and shit like that. I'm usually posting videos of me pouring beer and shit like that, and just doing all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah. So Josh agrees with me. Yeah, I think there's something going on there. That box, you got to explore those boxes. I love the box, bro.
That actually came out of an idea, probably about a little over a year ago. NF Creeps was like, he's like, we're gonna do a collection. I'm gonna call it Creepy Cardboard. So if you guys want to start drawing on cardboard or use cardboard for a background, and then I was like, fuck. So I started drawing on the box, and then we never did anything with it, but it was a neat little idea. Yeah, there's a sketch of my one, and usually I post these and I'll hashtag madness, and I have artwork from all kinds of, physical artwork from a lot of people that I've met on my wall and stuff like that. And those are usually my madness videos. I'm usually whenever I'm walking around my studio like that, I might be maybe or may not be under the influence of mushrooms. So.
Oh, Josh, just monster boxes, bro. Monster boxes.
And sometimes I think it would be cool. Like anytime I ship out a painting or an artwork, I usually try to draw something on the packaging. So it's,
you're yeah, I feel like I'm taking a tour through everything right now. Could do this one of two ways. I could either tell you to pick up the web. Oh, I just saw a cat in a cooler. That's Josh gonna get excited on that one. Oh, I saw the taps. I see the taps you're talking about. Each one of those are a different brew.
yeah. One of them is a commercial keg that I buy.
Okay.
And the other four are my home brews that I try to keep in circulation all the time. So I try to keep them full. Right now I got a really nice Christmas ale. I have a light ale, a IPA, and a seltzer that I put on there for my wifey. Oh yeah, there's some pictures of McSorley's. You're probably familiar with McSorley's.
I know. Yeah, the name is. You have any plans of well, I mean, I don't know those guitars, but would you ever? I saw that you painted on the beer taps, and it seems like you're painting on everything now: boxes, beer taps. Any plans on maybe taking it to, more like maybe a guitar body or anything like that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I play a little bit of guitar. Actually, you can't see him. I put the one thing. I lost you on the stream for some reason. I have to bring you back, but I actually have a guitar. I built a guitar and I wore it down, painted it and stuff. But I actually was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I could probably go on Facebook and buy like a, $80 guitar and rip the strings off of it and take it apart and draw on the body. But it's always something in the back of my mind, or I'll draw on one of the ones that I have. I'm not a very good guitar player, but I can play some chords, and I just like a guitar as a piece of art as well. So.
We just saw the minute brew.
Yeah, that's the sped up video measuring out the hops and then the water. I have the whole entire process done there.
Oka brew. Okay, we are.
Yeah, and then I do some slow videos.
Bushwick, you're getting to see Bushwick and its graffiti now.
Oh, I love that area. We went there. My boys went down there. We went to KCBC, the brewery down there. Their beer can art is off the chains. That whole area is just like the art vibes and then buildings and shit.
You're correct. Yeah,
I love this place. So when I go back for the next one, that's where I'm fucking staying. I actually would love to see if somebody can get a hold of anybody that owns a building there and let us, the FCW crew, come in and just like fucking tag a building or something. That'd be come in for a couple days before NFT NYC and have a little event there. I think that would be fun as fuck.
We're looking at some of your collectibles now. Some of Steve's collectibles. Steve was on the show about 2 months ago. And I think about it, 2 months, maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. Yeah, Halloween, October 31st. So November.
Yeah, that was a couple days after I was out there.
He's in Brooklyn, 45 minutes away. Did you drive over?
Yeah, I drive out. It's 7 hours. I get up 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm there by noon, so
Okay.
it's a straight shot through Pennsylvania from where I live.
What's the deal with the little round heads with the earphones on them?
Oh, that's an MFer. That was actually a commission I did for the MFers NFT. One of my buddies, he DM'd me and was like, "Oh, I love your paintings," and that's actually one that I commissioned not too long ago. So yeah,
Is that a collection?
Yeah, the MFers collection. They're not cheap either. They're a couple $1,000s. It's a pretty popular ETH NFT. Yeah, MFers. If you ever look it up, but there's just you always see those things. But I did a commission of his, and he loved it, and I did it in my style. It looks just like it, but it's it's got thick paint textures and stuff like that. And I shipped that out to him. It was a little commission piece I did for somebody on X. Just reached out to me and was like, "Hey, you want to paint my MF for me?" I'm like, "Okay, cool."
This is where you got to be careful, right? Because we're at the Red Fox piece right now. This is where you got to be careful because I had remix. No. Reset. I had Reset on the show with the 2D community. And she had one of those. She had a yellow one with the earphones. And I didn't know it was a collective piece. I only found that out through saying, like, is that stick figure art hers? Like, what are we supposed to use for the poster? That's what I was referring to. And somebody said, like, no, those are MFers. But, like, it didn't register what it was. And now I'm going through yours, and I see a green one. And I'm like, this must be a collection of some sort.
Look up MFers on ETH. They're not cheap. They're a pretty strong community. They're a big OG NFT collection. I think they came out shortly after the Bored Apes and stuff like that. So they've been around for a long time, and they seem to have a pretty strong community and a really nice hefty floor price too.
We're at the Red Fox piece now, with just his face, but watching you put it together. Let's see, is this it? Yeah, I think this is it. This is you painting it. Yeah, this is it coming to life. When did you paint this piece?
I started that one, I want to say at the end of October, and I think I finished it probably about midway through November.
Now, you said this. How long did this take you?
It was about 3.5, 4 weeks, something like that.
How much time would you say every time you sit down to paint?
Oh my God. I think one day I went like 10 hours, and usually it's about maybe 2 or 3 hours at a time. But I think there was a couple days where I went fucking ham and just sat there and just painted all fucking day, forgetting to eat. You got the wife texting me like, you coming in to eat dinner, or you want to come in and say hi to me? I had a rough day too. So it was just all sporadic. And sometimes I had to go to work, and I would come home, and I would come out here, and luckily she understands that I'm passionate about this, and she just lets me go at it. So thank God for that. Like, I couldn't have her if she was nagging me, like, "Are you going back out to paint again? What the hell?" So she's been really supportive.
Do you oh shit, I forgot my question. Oh, that was a good question.
Yeah.
I forgot my question. I was listening to you answer, and I forgot.
Sorry.
Nah, it's all right. It's all right. Okay. We are, I think we're coming to the end of the gram, which is good. This is good time because we're at 2 hours anyway. So
nice.
I want to start closing up. See, I told you, these shows go pretty quick. You don't realize how fast 2 hours go.
Yeah, no shit.
All right, let's start getting to the end. Yeah, we got the alien up. The alien is not finished, correct?
No, that is definitely not finished. And I'm going to take my time. I'm just pretty much laying down the base layers, and it's oil, so it's going to take me a while to finish that one. Like some of the green, it's probably going to be more grayish when it's done, like a grayish green. But I'm waiting for that to dry, so I started on the background. So I'm going to take my time because I want to do some like details into the skin. So I'm actually going to try to apply some of the shit that I learned in the red fox painting and try to apply that and try to get the lighting right. And I just want it to kind of look kind of cool whenever it's done. So I guess that's the only point. Make sure it looks cool when you're done, I guess.
All right, I'm gonna what I'm gonna do now, Dave, is I'm gonna switch back the screens. We got a good chance to show them everything, talk about everything. Let me start moving the screens back so we can start saying goodnight to everybody. And saying, I think we gave a really good tour of everything. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. We got your X up, right? And then we also have your Instagram up. Let me close this so I could get to the top. Okay, yeah, I mean, not too far. We almost made it to the top here. We almost got everything. Okay, so this is your IG. This is your Instagram. This is the link tree. This is your main site. This is your actual, let's see, we'll go to Ooka, so we'll bring up the main site. That's what I wanted to do. We have the skull collection here, and then I don't know what this is, but the page is lost, so I don't know where that came from. I think that's a link, but doesn't matter. Okay, so we got this. Good. Okay, we got everything. I wanted to make sure we got everything for everybody to see. Let me bring this screen back up, full screen. Let me go double screen. Let me go double guest. All right, let me make my way back here. All right, guys, I'll see all you guys in a few minutes. I'll give shout outs to all you guys before we say goodbye. So you all leave and comment. If anybody's got a question for Ooka, now would be the time to drop that question. Okay. So we are kind of winding down here, Ooka. Where do we go from here? Ooka, why don't you, anybody wants to, you mentioned commissions. You mentioned people reach out, ask you to paint things, so forth and so on. They want to see more of your art. They want to find your link tree. They want to reach out to you and get in touch with you. What's some of the best ways to do that for you? I
guess maybe my email on X. It's just DM me. My DMs are always open. Even I always try to answer. I don't ever blow anybody off. I always have something to say. And Ookaswacka at Gmail, probably the other easy way to get a hold of me. So.
Okay.
I mean, you can DM me on Instagram, stuff like that too. So I'm always looking around whenever I can and trying to stay on top of stuff. So.
Okay, so X, IG, probably the best two ways, and then your website. There's a contact on there too, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my email's on there. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. So, Ooka, it's that point in the night where you have an opportunity. The same way, I tend to find, a lot of people don't realize it, right? But when you know what? I should switch the camera back so I could see you. Hang on one sec. You still got me over there?
Yeah.
All right. Hang on. Let me switch back because you're probably looking at my empty desk webcam right now. All right. So, Phil, I see you out there. Phil was complimenting some of your art over on Facebook. Ooka, so what I tend to find, right, is when I speak to you guys, and every artist I open up, and I listen, right? I ask questions. I want to know how it happened. I want to know when it happened. I want to know the lifespan of it happening. And then I start to open up everyone's art. And it seems like sometimes I focus more on the show than I do my own art. And when I see all you guys happy and sharing your art and painting and just exploring new avenues of creating art, whether it's through digital and then hearing the success, the sales, everybody meeting each other, it's inspirational, right? I get inspired. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, all right, that's it. I'll do what I need to do with the show. And then today I'm going to spend a couple hours creating something, working on something. And it becomes very inspirational talking to you guys, whether it's in Spaces on Friday or Spaces on Tuesday or any of the shows, right? And so here's that moment in time where you as an artist have an opportunity to inspire some other artists out there, right? Maybe drop some words of inspiration. Maybe to some other guys that might be out there, might be NFTs are bullshit or might not be anything here, or it's just I'm gonna quit and go back to real life where you didn't. You created a little studio for yourself, and yeah, you got some stuff going on in the background, but you seem to put a lot of attention on your art now. And not only that, but you're a year into painting, so not that much experience, but producing some pretty great pieces of art. Yeah, maybe some words, thoughts, inspiration, something out there for other artists who might be watching.
I guess just find some more inspirational people, some more like-minded people. Don't give up. Just keep pushing. And always try to push yourself. Get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it's probably the best advice I can give you. Get out of your comfort zone. It took me a while just to be able to talk in Spaces, and it took me a while to talk about myself. Like I can shoot the shit and be a clown all day long because I don't care. I mean, I always had that performer, attitude, like, just be the class clown all the time. But whenever it comes to talking about yourself, sometimes I would always kind of clam up, and now I'm starting to get more comfortable. So just keep sharing your art, keep posting it. You never know who's going to see it. Like I said, I'm going to keep doing the same thing, and I'm just going to keep trying to push myself to be better. And there's always room for growth. There's always room for growth. And I think that's about all I can say.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Uka. All right, Dave. So you got one last question, but before I ask you that one last question, I want to say thank you for coming on the show, bro. I appreciate you spending 2 hours with us. Talking a little bit more about yourself. I always tell everybody, everybody gives me shit when I ask them and they want to come on the show. No, I don't know. It's not for me. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know. Says, listen, I could talk for 2 hours. I could talk about your art for 2 hours. It's not a problem for me. So all you got to do is kind of like jump on the show and shoot the shit. Not a lot of people are quick to jump on. Some very uncomfortable. So whenever somebody comes on, especially artists who happen to be very introverted and not quick to, jump in front of the camera. A lot of artists you'll find behind the camera, not in front of the camera. So, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you for jumping in front of the camera and sharing your art. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but what a great little 2 hour chunk of time to get to know you, to learn more about you. Josh told me a little something about a CNC, if I heard correctly. So there's some CNC machining going on in your family that I didn't even touch on. And so I always hear these little tidbits of stuff that I always want to talk about in these things. But I wait for the artist to kind of bring this stuff up. Beer brewing, creating wine, painting all over everything, and learning about, it's not easy to learn about someone's. Get up here, talk about your background, talk about everything that you got going on, and then to share your art, right? Which is some of the hardest thing to do in this industry, because you got to get a response, right? Whether people like it, they hate it, and who gives a shit about someone else's opinion? But everybody's got an opinion, and you always got to hear it. So, man, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you coming on the show and taking the time out and sharing everything about you and your art, man.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me to come here. At first I was a little nervous. I was like, what the fuck are we going to talk about? And we talked about all kinds of shit. That's an art form that you have, is keeping the conversation cruising along nice and slowly. Like I hosted Spaces and there's like 3 seconds of dead air and I'm just like, what the fuck do I say now? This sucks. I'm ending this motherfucker, but you kept it rolling and I appreciate it. You kept it rolling really nice. Passionate about CNC. My middle son works for a company where he sets up CNC machines. We talked about that in Discord probably over a year ago or whatever, just shooting the shit. So, I'm just happy to be here, and I've met some really cool people, and now I can call you my friend now, and I can't wait till NFT NYC. I'm gonna buy you a fucking beer.
I told Steve back Halloween, I was like, listen, we're only 45 minutes away. We got to get together. We got to, right? And it never happens. And I hate talking about, but now that I know that you and Steve hang out, now I need to meet everybody. So you got to keep me posted next time you're coming up to New York. If you ever need a place to stay, you're always welcome to crash here in the studio. But I'm in the Bronx, not in Brooklyn. And it's not a fancy little art area with cool paint all over the place. But you're always welcome here in my studio.
I can sleep anywhere, man. I can sleep on a couch. I've been in some rough areas, so that's where I grew up. Akron, Ohio is not the greatest, nicest places, but I can sleep anywhere, and I sleep like a baby. But no, thank you for having me, and thank you for doing these spaces like that. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to meet you someday in person. Give you a big old bear hug and buy you a beer, man.
Man, I don't know if you realize it or not, but great show. You had nothing to worry about. Everybody always gets so nervous about these things, and I'm like, I could talk straight about your art. All you got to do is just chime in. I'm like, but most of the times, everybody comes out of their shell and they start getting going, and then that's it. That's the end of it. It's like, look at them go. But yeah, you had a great show, bro. No fear, nothing to worry about. And if anybody ever wants to know about you, yeah, hey, check me out. This is kind of like my history of how it all happened. On that note, I got one last question for you. We need a song to end the show with. And I was just kind of curious what song that would be.
All right. Now, I know everybody thinks I'm like some kind of metalhead, but I love all kinds of music. So, I mean, I listen to all kinds. I mean, I got, Notorious B.I.G., then I'll flip on Metallica, but Can you play anything? Anything I can find, you can play it, right?
As long as the link is on YouTube, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it probably is. There's a song. He's an artist called Dax Riggs. He was in a band called Acid Bath back in the 90s. And he just came out with a new album, but he has a song called Good Night to the World. And it's not heavy metal. It's more, it's like dark, I guess, and it's like just melodic, and I love him as an artist and his music. I don't know why. I just put that on and it takes me to a whole other place. Yeah, it's a song called Good Night to the World. And I think it'd be perfect song to end the show with.
Can you do me a favor, and can you find that link on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And then just send me that link in the DM so I have the exact song. And I gotta get the ooga 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 somewhere in. I gotta get it in some. I was so close to switching up the show music, which is usually I use Kanye West Power, because it just matches the hour of power. But I was so close to putting the ooga 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 shaka. But I'm fiending to get that song, just the beginning clip. But if you send me that link, I will click on that and then scroll through your art and finish up with the IG, and I'll close up the show. But my friend, I want to thank you once again for your time. And the night is yours. You could bounce. Just get me that link in my DM, and we'll catch up on Spaces. You don't have to hang out. I'm going to close out the show. You're more than welcome to, but I'm going to close out the show. And, that's this is going to be the end of it. So.
I sent you the link right now. You can play that song. I think it's a live version, but it's still a pretty dope version. So
I got it.
And say good night to the world. I appreciate it, Mark. Thanks for everything. And this was fun. I had a good time.
Anytime, Dave. You're gonna come back on the HOP, right?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you want me to come in and you have any empty slots, maybe I could get a little bit more wild next time.
I'd love to do a show. It would be cool if maybe we did a live show from NFT NYC. We get me, you, Steve, and whoever else comes up, and maybe do a show. I think that would be a real cool show, doing something live and having everybody who was on HOP be on HOP live at NFT NYC in June. I think that would be a super cool show, especially if we all met the same place at the same time and went live and said hello to everybody and did like a real show, live time in the lobby or something. I don't know. But I got to learn a little bit more about what's going on with NFT NYC before I make
I think a lot of people do, but that would be epic, man. Getting a whole bunch of people together and just having a big live show. That would be epic.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think so. So I'm going to work on, I think that's what's coming next in June. And I would love to get everybody who is available and in at NFT NYC, show up at the show at a particular time and just come on, everybody do 10-minute hellos and real time, real life, no more video streams. Everybody gets to see everybody say hello. So, but Dave, I'll catch you in Spaces. I'll catch you a little later. Yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Great show, bro.
Right. Have a good night.
Okay, guys. You just had a chance to meet Dave Ookaswacka. You heard his story. Got a chance to actually hang on one sec. Let me switch this back real quick. Let me get this back. There we go. Okay. You guys got a chance to meet Dave Ookaswacka. You got a chance to see his art and hear his origin stories. This is what I'm calling the first show of every artist I talk to, origin story. You got to get a chance to, see how they developed, how they became, how their art came to truth. So, great story by Dave. Got a chance to learn a little bit more about him, his background, and how this art came to be. And very interesting how all these artists all starting to meet in one place, and everybody is kind of finding their own path in their own way. But we all keep landing in these spaces together. We all keep creating art together and somehow keep inspiring each other. So pretty good scene if you ask me. On that note, y'all, it's Monday night. I want to say goodnight to everybody. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll say over here, Big Money. Hammer, what's up? Phil, what's up? I see you guys. Phil likes the nice day-glow looking skull that was in the right-hand corner when Mark said was scrolling. This guy's got a lot of cool skulls as well. Good to see you, Phil. Nice to see you guys over on Facebook. I'm going to jump over on X and say goodnight to you guys as well, so hang on. Wait a second. What am I doing? I got to finish up the rest of the week. Okay, so tomorrow, Space, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Sketch, Shira, and Linked by Art Space. They have a space going on. They only like to run it for 2 hours, so it's a really good space when it comes to information. A lot of artists tuning in. It's just a good chance to get together and meet her. It's one of the few spaces you could find me in. So I'll be in that space tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We got a test show with the Art Cartel. So on Wednesday, we're going to be doing the Art Cartel. So we'll be meeting those guys. We already met one of them, which is we met Usapata with his Palometas. And those guys just came back from Miami and Art Basel. So that should be a pretty good show on Wednesday. We don't have a community show this week. The communities won't be back until, technically that's not true. We got the Art Cartel community, and then we also have Sam's community, which, not community, but his group. And they'll be on, I think, Christmas Day. So, but let me not get too far ahead. And then at the end of this week, we got Pega. So we'll be having Pega on Friday. And then let's not forget about TGIF. We'll see everybody on TGIF. But that's it. That's the lineup. Those are the only places you're going to be able to catch the show and catch me in Spaces this week, which is a norm. So on that note, guys, I want to say stay up, stay positive. It's Monday night, so you got the whole week ahead of you, but keep it positive, y'all. And as you guys know what I say. It's always a great week to create some art. And it's always a great weekend to create art, too. So on that note, guys, let's bring up the song. I know we have the track somewhere. Let's go. Where is the track? Bring it in. There we go. I got it over here. Yes. All right. We got this track right here. Yes, we do. Awesome. Okay. All right, y'all. Before we open this up and we let the track rip, right? Das break. Say goodnight to them. How come I don't hear you? Where are you? How come I don't hear you? That's interesting. Let's go. Here we go. Okay. All right, a little bit of delayed music in there. All right, so before we hit this track, it's that time of night. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. All right, let's go. Captain Futon, thank you for joining in. Nice to see you. Thanks for being part of the show. Josh, thank you for tuning in. Nice to see you. We got any more questions? Sending you message for ISO pets. That doesn't have anything to do with me. I think that has to do with Ooka. All right, that's it. Oh, Johanna, thank you for dropping in and saying hello. And happy birthday to you this week as well. I think we got everybody. Yeah, we got everybody on Facebook. We got everybody on X. And I think we got everybody on IG. NF Creeps. What's up, Steve? All right. Oh, look at this. See, this is the problem with broadcasting to 5 different places. I always miss who's saying hello where. But Steve, believe it or not, I see you. Steve has been saying hello, and we missed him a little bit, but I did get to see you. He says hello, Big Dave. All right, NFC Creeps, thank you for tuning in. Robin, thank you for tuning in. Angelo, thank you for tuning in. Nalia, thank you for tuning in. Mrs. Catering Parties, thank you for tuning in. JF Mass, thank you for tuning in. And Miss Erica Ramos, thank you for tuning in. All right, we got everybody over there, and we're gonna go out on some of Dave's art. And let's see, we got 3:55, so we might have to repeat this one more time. Let's go. All right, y'all. See all you guys next show. Till then.
I don't know if you can still hear me. I'm going to bed.
Say goodnight to the this is the way. All these stars you've been reaching after. We bet with laughter. We bet with laughter. Disappear. Live only in your tears. Just to whisper in my ear and say goodnight to the world. This is the way that the sorcerers say. They say goodnight, say goodnight to the world. Say it. Say goodnight to the world. Say goodnight to the world. Say goodnight to the
All right, y'all. See you next show. Art Cartel is coming up next. All right, y'all. See everybody on the next one. Till then, peace.